Good morning. Welcome
Hey,
to Extraordinary Stories with Extraordinary People. My name is Amy Kochek with Amy Kochek Creative, and welcome to another episode. I'm super excited today. As with every episode, I always get excited because I know that the person that we're talking to is always going to add a lot of value to us, to our stories, and give us an opportunity to connect to one another. So let me tell you why we do what we do and what exactly Extraordinary Stories with Extraordinary People is. I am a ghostwriter, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I am all things story related. And one thing that I had started to become frustrated with in general was anytime I tell somebody, hey, I'm a ghostwriter, I get responses like, oh, I've always wanted to write a book, or oh, I know this person, they have such a great story. And then I'd say, well, why haven't you? Or why hasn't this person written the story? And there's always this like excuse of, oh, I don't know if my story is that interesting, or there's some insecurity that comes along with stories. And it just started to frustrate me because the thing that drives us, the thing that connects us, the thing that makes us human are our stories. So I wanted to start giving a platform for people to really share their experiences, to help us know that there's hope out there, that I could be going through something that somebody else has already gone through and they can give me hope, or I can be going through something and another person can be going through that same thing and we can offer each other support. So the main purpose of this is to connect to one another through stories. And I always have my guests share, how can we reach you? How can we support what you're doing? How can we support you? So make sure that you guys are reaching out. If you are watching live, tell us where you're from, make yourself known. If you have questions as we go through the broadcast, put them in the comments and we'll be sure to get to them. So without further ado, today I have Ely Rosenfeld on. Super excited. I met Ely over Facebook, ironically enough. And Ely started consuming my content. I started consuming his content. We started working together. He just has such a phenomenal story, very smart, very bright. And I think that he can offer a lot of great value. So Ely, you're going to kick us off. Introduce us. Who are you? Where do you live? What do you do? Tell us something about your family.
So I'm Ely, and I live in Pittsburgh, and I have 5 gorgeous kids.
Wow.
The ages from 6 to 15, and boy, girl, boy, girl, girl. I mean, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. So yeah, I have the birthdays right as well. Don't worry. And I love helping people find their thing. Like we all have moments in our life when we feel like we're clicking in all cylinders. We're in our zone. We feel like we're finally living our truth. And then we have it, and then it goes, and then it's gone, and then we find it 2 months later, and we find it again 2 years later, and then we always trying to get back to that, but we don't know how because we don't know what got us there in the first place. And so when I realized that's a challenge that many people have, and it's a challenge that I personally face myself, I decided I'm going to crack that nut and find a way to help others discover it for themselves and be able to live that life of being in their zone all the time.
I love that. Ely, can you do me a favor? Your left, scoot left a little bit because your face is kind of cut off in the main screen. Yes. Don't move from there. Perfect. Okay. So I want to talk about a pivotal moment in your life. So I always ask my guests, everybody always has, and we talked about this too, we have multiple pivotal moments in our lives, right? It's like we're going down a path and we're so clear. We're like, this is what my life is going to be. This is what I'm going to do. And then something happens to shift it. So I want you to set up life before this pivotal moment. What's going on? What are you doing? Who are you? And then tell us about that pivotal moment that kind of shifted your life and shifted your trajectory of where you were going.
So I was thinking about that, if there is a pivotal moment, and it's hard to find if there really is one, because there are numerous times that we think this is the moment, and then we think at some point later on that that's the moment, and the moment keeps evolving. So there are many of those moments, but the truth is every one of the moments have something in common. Mm-hmm. And what I think they all have in common for me is that I was always looking for it, like to get there. And you always hear the cliche of like life is a journey and it's a journey. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's a journey, but like, can't my journey be a little shorter? Isn't there a way to get there faster? Can I just find that somehow? And I realized, no. The cliche, all these words are cliches that sometimes are almost devoid of their meaning. Like we have forgotten what they truly mean. And so people say them and we don't even like to hear them anymore. And so it's not that life is the journey, but rather the challenge and the excitement of popping through those challenges. That is what life is. I mean, almost like a video game.
Right.
You know, right? It's right. Every level we need to get jump over those little jumps and those little challenges, and then we get to level 2, and then we have more challenges. Like it never ends. Like every level we get higher and higher and higher with more challenges, and that's what life is. It's the challenges and breaking through them every single day. It's not there. There is no there. You'll never get there. And so start enjoying it right now, and then you have fun versus going the other way. And so when I started realizing this, and every so often you fall into those moments of thinking, well, you know, if I only can get there, then I remind myself, Ely, there's no there. It's right. And so when it's right here, it just makes it all fun.
So I know that one of the things that we had talked about is that at one point in your life, you were focused on, you still are a rabbi, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that was kind of like your main focus. And then you kind of shifted towards entrepreneurship. Can you kind of tell that story, how you kind of veered away from that?
Yes, I grew up. My father was a rabbi. Families are many rabbis in the family. And ultimately, a rabbi essentially just means teacher. That's what the rabbi literally means in Hebrew. And so my mission was to help other Jews discover more about their Judaism. And I enjoyed it. You know, it was a great job. It was basically an entrepreneur. I didn't have like a pulpit per se or a synagogue or a temple, but I literally went out and found Jews wherever they were and engaged with them and tried to get them involved in a program, in their class, and some education. And it was a lot of fun. And I enjoyed every bit of it. But with time, as I evolved, and I realized ultimately what even Judaism really was, and how it can really serve us in a much more positive way versus more of a dogmatic kind of system by which we must live or else. I started shifting and started sharing with others that what it is. And I realized that people were like, yeah, Rabbi, it sounds cool, but that's not really what it is to me. And so I realized that I'm banging my head against the wall. I wasn't actually achieving a lot of results because I just felt I was the capacity that I was in as quote the rabbi, and all the expectations that come with that were very limiting. It didn't allow me to just share the same consistent point that that ultimately Judaism is a system by which to live a happy life. And if you're not living happy with it, then you miss the point, and you should find a way to figure it out, because otherwise, like, what are you doing it for? It's not it's not like an oppressive system of dogma, which often it's perceived. And that's what I was dealing with and grappling with. And I realized that I needed to make some big changes. So I took the jump.
Yeah.
And I realized I need to find this way to package this message in a different pill, so to say.
Yeah. Can I add a few questions? So one, when you were talking about being a rabbi, you said that came with a lot of, maybe the word's not rules, but specific ways of living. What are those? So as a rabbi, what are some things that you specifically have to uphold?
No different than anybody else. I mean, a leader has to be essentially, you lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, there was, maybe, again, it was all me, most of it. I would say going back now, I could probably be a much better rabbi than I was then, no question. And again, I often think about that and realize that, you know, it's just amazing how things work out. We end up where we are for different reasons. So I don't think that the rabbi essentially is limiting, but for me, where I was in that sense of mind, it was limiting to me. And it allowed, I often would hear people, a rabbi's supposed to do this, a rabbi's supposed to do that. And all of these comments would affect me constantly. And so I was trying to make everyone happy and move around, you know, to do this and do that and do that. I realized that I wasn't doing anything for me. It was all about them. And ultimately, if I'm doing for them, I can't influence them. It's not achieving anything. So it was really more of a puppet figurehead than anything else. And so once I discovered this is what I want to do, this is who I am, and this is the way I be as a rabbi, it was a clash, because I had set up a system for so long to please everyone else. Suddenly doing it my way wasn't going to work. Yeah.
So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the evolution that you just talked about as you're studying Judaism and studying what you're essentially teaching, and the evolution of how your beliefs kind of started to change. And also when you get to this mentality of, I'm not going to be a puppet anymore. Like, how does that happen for you? What does that look like, that evolution?
Well, I just started discovering things that I had like aha moments of like, oh my gosh, that's that. Like, I'll give you an example. I was sharing with somebody yesterday a conversation that I had about faith. And we were discussing what faith is and how it works and how it operates. And I was explaining to him how he was actually another rabbi who's actually running a nonprofit. And I was explaining to him how he needs to make a call and ask for assistance. And at that point, it's up to the creator, right? It's up to the universe to return. And he said that that's really cool. It's a really cool concept. That's fascinating because, like, to be able to call and not feel like the person you need them to give it to you, that's like, wow, that would be amazing. But how can you? Because the truth is, you do need them to give it to you. So he was like flummoxed. And so what I explained to him was that I actually discovered this from sales, because what I learned about sales is that you have to be in a mindset of abundance, that you don't need this product whatsoever. If you feel you do need it, it's not going to sell ever. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I realized that, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is what that whole faith system is. It's simply when you recognize that it's not coming from you, so then it's not the buyer that you're trying to grab the money from, but rather it's that the creator and the universe is going to give you the money anyway. You're simply reaching out to make a vessel, to make a barrel to catch the rain, so to say. And it makes it so much easier. So this is maybe a long-winded point, but ultimately the point is that I discovered everything that Judaism per se says outside in the world in other forms of communication. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is it. That means that, and that means that. And just gave me lots of excitement that I know all this stuff. I've been learning all these years, but almost from a different angle. And so when I came back and I would share it with people, either friends or maybe other rabbis, they would tell me, no, that's not what it is. And so for a while, it was like a real downer. Like I thought, well, what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? And it led me to a little bit of a low, because I just felt like I thought I had it, I thought I figured it out, and then they're telling me it's not like it. And then, of course, I had that same breakthrough again, that other pivotal moment where I realized, no, it is. They don't believe it, and that's okay. And they don't have to believe it, and that's also okay. It's about me, not about them. And when it's about me, not about them, then this is my truth. This is the way I see it. And I'm convinced that I see, the backing for it. And if I don't, then again, it's just me. It's my story. It's my life. It's my journey. And this way, I found a lot more satisfaction in it and enjoyment, not looking for approval, but this is me. And I found in the end, because of that, they actually end up with more people that actually have come to me for guidance or for leadership in this respect, because ultimately, I think that's what people want. And people want to actually someone that's willing to get up and lead and pave the path.
Yeah. So as you're researching, right, and you're coming up with almost like you're using concepts that you've grown up with and you're looking at them from a different perspective, which sometimes can go counter what other people are saying. How did those concepts become real to you? Like if you're learning something and sometimes it can be counter what everybody else is saying, how do you then embrace it? Like, how does it become real and not just, wait, am I crazy like everybody's saying, or do I get it? Like, how do you come to the point of saying, no, I get it?
I stopped trying to convince them.
Yeah.
Usually if I had a new idea, I would run out to the market and talk to people and test it out. Meaning not the market, the gossip market. And I would discuss with people, this is my idea. And they'd say, no. And with time, I realized every no would give me a little more doubt whether it was a good idea or not. And then by that time, I would stop doing it. So I stopped asking people at all. If I have a good idea, I go straight to the market with it and I see results. And now I know it works. I'll give you an example. I was learning some philosophy, some Jewish philosophy, and we're discussing like, quote, spiritual matters. And we're discussing the highest spheres of the universe. The highest sphere is silence. How silence can accomplish even much more than wisdom. Wisdom is great and really creates everything, but silence is even higher. And I'm thinking, OMG. The next day, I was on a sales call, and I'm quiet. Instead of talking and giving everyone what to do, I'm just shutting my mouth and being quiet. And suddenly, it all started flowing.
Yeah.
And I had the best call ever. And the next call was great. I'm thinking, oh my God, silence is it. And I just saw it so black and white, where for years I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, of course, like silence is great. But now I saw it implemented and I got results from it. I don't need anyone else's approval anymore. I have the market's approval. That's the reality. People like that. It resonates. It got me results. It works.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do now. I just take it straight to market, use it for myself, and I don't need to discuss it and get approval from others.
Yeah, I love that. So as you're kind of shifting away and, forming these beliefs that are somewhat, new to other people or eccentric, what did that have? What did that do to your relationships or how you were viewed in that circle?
I don't know. And I don't care. They say, the comment about, what do they say about ignorance and apathy, right? I don't know, and I don't care, right? So that, I mean, I don't care in the sense that it's not relevant to me. And I'll give you another example. I shared a video the other day, not on Facebook, but on a bunch of WhatsApp groups that, with, numerous family or friends and things like that. And someone commented to me afterwards and said, Ellie, that's really gutsy, because I'm sure there were people that were watching your video and they said, like, oh, this guy is kooked, he's nuts, and so on and so forth. Like, that's like, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there were. And I wasn't talking to them. That's okay. Like, that's going to happen all the time. People are always going to, and I mean, that's not my business. So, but it doesn't really bother me. It's like, it's something that because, I mean, I don't think about it. It's not relevant. It's everyone has a perspective, and everyone has an idea. Everyone has an opinion. I mean, I know I have opinions about everything in the world, and no one really cares. So why would they care, per se? Why should I care about their opinions? Meaning, if I asked for someone's opinion, then I got it. Like, I used to ask for people's opinions, advice, what to do, and then they would always shoot me down. So I realized that it's just an opinion. It's just their perspective. It's their thing, and I mean, it's okay. I mean, some people don't like it, and that's fine. But by and large, I think people, if you keep your own space and do your own thing and respect their space, I think, even though you may be in different places, I think a smile is uniting. So if they're smiling and you're smiling, I think you think differently. Who cares? Like, that's, so what? We're at the same spot. How we got there may be different, but that's not really relevant.
Yeah. Move to the left just a little bit. You're
veering
again. There you go. Right there. Perfect. I think it's so interesting. It's definitely a huge difference between men and women. Just from my experience of coming out of, a very strict religious environment, the way that men go through the process and the way that women go through the process can be very different, because women are very relational and like very connected. And not that men aren't, but it's like a lot of things that you're losing are like your connections to other people, and people like distance themselves for you, and that can be devastating. But just like you said, it's almost like I don't care, which I think is a phenomenal. It's great. So then you don't have to like hold on and still hold on to certain beliefs and certain mindsets just because you're trying to please other people or stay connected. So I find that fascinating. I want to ask you, so once you start having these different mindsets, how then did you start connecting it to becoming an entrepreneur and building a business behind it? How did that start?
Well, I had this vision of what I want to help people with, but I wasn't sure how. And for a while, I would talk my head blue and try to engage with people, and no one would listen. They would say, yeah, it sounds good. It's all hocus pocus, baloney, and it wouldn't make a difference. So then I realized, through taking some courses on business and how business works, I realized that people are not interested in what I have to offer, per se. What they're interested in is getting to their desired future. And so I need to go to their watering hole where they are, and I need to essentially be the bridge to their water. And if I can be the bridge to their water, then they don't really care what I have to offer. If it gets them results, they'll be happy. So I believe in get results. So I don't package it. I don't focus on my product. I focus on essentially where people's challenges are and help them overcome that. And what I have simply is the tools to help them get through that, help them understand it, help them see the life the way they want to see it, and get them to where they want to be. Yeah. So I stopped focusing on me, and I spent a lot more time focusing on them. Meaning, it's my job to listen and hear where they are and think of ways that I can use tools in my tool set to help them get there. But I'm not selling them something that I have. I'm simply being their doctor in some sense, or their professional to help them bridge that gap. And so it was a mindset shift. I used to think, how do I sell someone? How do I get someone to buy my thing? And I realized that, again, people don't buy my thing. It's not me they're buying at all. What they're buying is where they want to be. And if they believe I can get them there, then that's great.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of things that you use as a rabbi and like from your religious background that it transitions really well into what you do in the business world?
Yeah, in many, many ways. It's almost the same thing.
Explain that. That's interesting. Explain that.
I was recently, I met somebody, came over to me and said, Elliot, I heard you become a life coach. Like, you've done a big career change. And so I looked at them and said, I mean, Same thing, isn't it? And they looked and stopped and went, yeah, you're right, it is. I mean, it's a rabbi essentially is trying to help people live a happier life, help them connect to themselves, be true to themselves, and reach their higher self. That's what it is ultimately. So that's what I'm doing, helping people become more true to themselves. And often people are simply afraid to become true to themselves because what if, and what's going to be, and how that's going to happen. And so I give them the tools and help them find that way and make it effective and make it last. And it's going awesome. So it's to answer your question, yeah, it's. I thought it was different, but it's not really. And actually, because of this, I've been able to help many others that are simply in the rabbi field. Meaning, many clients of mine today are rabbis, and to me, I get the most gratification from that sometimes because to me, it's like, yeah, I know you, I know where you are, I know where you are, I know that challenge, and I'm going to give you a picture that it took me a while to discover, but I can bring it to you faster. And once you see it, it opens up a whole new avenue. I almost call I'm going to bring you to the yellow brick road. I'm going to show you the path. I can get you there. I can't do anything to get you there, but I can show you where to go. And once you see that, it's like you have that aha moment, the eye popping experience of, oh, now I know what I'm doing, and I can finally be me.
Yeah. So do you find that that you're assisting the rabbis in the same way that you're assisting your other clients? Like your rabbis are too trying to find their true selves, like trying to really get to the authentic core of who they are?
Yeah, a rabbi is just a title. It's like you're Ely. You know, I debated for a long time. Even my website is like ElyRosenfeld.com, and I'm thinking, should it be Rabbi Ely Rosenfeld? And I'm thinking, well, people will call me whatever they want. But to me, Ely, the title is just like another title. I can have 5 more letters, but that's not why people are coming to me. They're coming to me because, again, there's something that I am bringing to the table, and it's not the titles that do it. And so that's the way I look at the other quote rabbis. They're just people like anyone else, and they have the same challenges and the same struggles and the same desires, and they're human, and they just simply want to live a happier life. And so when they realize that the best way they can influence others is to simply by example, meaning that the thought process is I need to teach someone, I need to tell people what to do. You can't tell people what to do. The only way you could almost guide people what to do is by influencing them, by showing them how you do it, and they will copy you. And when you do it and they copy you, that's the way you do it. That's the best way to influence, and it works.
Yeah. Why do you think, and you might have answered this, but why do you think people fear discovering who they really are? It's like this struggle between I want to know, but I'm afraid to know. Where's the fear come in? Why?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's a direct answer to that. I've thought about it sometimes, but I think the true answer is that because it's so hard. Meaning, when I say it's so hard, it takes work. Like, for example, you know, I've done lots of running. I enjoy running. I've done numerous marathons. And people say, "Oh, running, it's amazing. It's so much fun." You look at me, I'm like, the best part of the run is when I'm finished. But every run is hard. It's step by step by step, and it's never easy. No run is easy. And as soon as I tell myself that it's easy, then I suddenly that run becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so there is no shortcut. Like there's no shortcut. So like it's fearful because it's going to take a long time, and you'll have to work through it step by step. Well, yeah, it's going to take a long time. You have to work through it step by step. So do you want to start today, or do you want to wait 2 years and then start that? Because you're going to have to go through it and discover it yourselves to figure out who you are. So you might as well start now. Because it doesn't. The fear is maybe there's a way I can get around it. Maybe there's a shortcut. There isn't. There's no shortcut to life. And for that matter, where are you trying to go? Right? There is no there. So it's about just lifting the weights, right? If you lift the weights, the muscles build. There's no shortcut to get big muscle. So just start lifting weights because that's what it is. Becoming a bigger you is simply you're a muscle.
Yeah.
Lift it up and keep doing it and keep acting that way and keep practicing that way every single day, and you become more you. That's it.
I love that. So in the shift of from being the focus of being a rabbi solely to being an entrepreneur and the unorthodox beliefs that kind of got you there, what did you have to give up? I always say that we have to let go of something to embrace something else. What did you let go of, or what did you give up?
What did I have to give up? It's a hard question because I did not perceive it as that.
Yeah.
I perceived it as bringing new things in to replace things that were not doing anything for me. So I didn't actually give them up. I simply pushed them out.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
it's different. I'll give you an example, right? Procrastination.
Uh-huh.
And tell me that they procrastinate to the last second and then they get it done. And they're great in pressure. It's true. It works. But what's happening is the reason why you're great in pressure is because you're fleeing. You're afraid of that deadline. And so fear is driving you. Ultimately, that's what's happening. And so it works, but it's very stressful, causes a lot of pressure. Then there's another side to the approach, which is don't run away from the fear, but actually pursue that which you desire. Pursue your life. And so in that case, you're not thinking of the procrastination at all. You're simply, every day, you're just moving forward towards that exciting goal that you want. And you just keep bringing in more things. And as you bring things in, things go out. And when they go out, they're gone. Like, you're not thinking about them anymore because you're not even looking at direction. You're looking ahead. You're not looking behind. And so when you do that, procrastination with time goes, it's a life changer because, again, you're constantly pursuing a greater light versus running away from a greater evil.
Yeah. When it comes to your beliefs, and especially when it comes to Judaism and the dogma that you talked about before, where do you stand on that? Like, what is your perspective when it comes to Judaism? Like, do you still do everything that you did when you were a rabbi? Have you shifted things? Where have your beliefs kind of gone?
It's a great question. The toughest question. The answer is yes. All of the beliefs from before, or actually none of the beliefs from before, but all the actions from before and more. I would say I'm probably more connected as a Jew today than I ever was.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason for it. I discovered that faith is not a passive thing. Like, people tell me, oh, I don't believe in that. I'm like, yeah, I know. That which you don't believe in, I don't believe in either. Like, that's Mickey Mouse, what you call that kind of thing. Like, it's like a trade-off. If I'll behave, he'll give me something. If I don't behave, he won't give me something. He'll punish me if I get step out of line. That's like a kindergarten version of religion as a whole.
Yeah.
And so with him is I came to realize what it really is. I mean, even faith. Faith is not a passive thing. You don't passively believe in something. Not anything, not ever. Faith starts with intellectualism. Intellectually comprehending, understanding what we're trying to accomplish, what faith is, recognizing that there's something more here, then comprehending it, then putting into action and seeing that it's true, and then doing that again and again and again and again and again over, say, 30, 40, 50 period, then it becomes faith. Faith is a muscle again. You're building something starting with your intellect. So people think, oh, faith is like a lazy excuse to be lazy. Like, it's like, yeah, I have faith. No, that's not what it is. Actually, it's much harder. It's easier to be intellectual than it is to have faith, because faith starts with intellect and it goes in there, then it drops into our emotions. Faith is basically an emotion. I feel this. I believe this. This is who I am. It's our subconscious, but it comes because we've done meditations, we've done focusing, we've lived that way, we've acted that way, and then it becomes part of you. It's who you are. So that kind of faith is unbelievable. It's mind changing. It's world changing. It's life changing. It could conquer mountains, cross seas. The faith that often is believed to be faith, which is just like, I believe it or I don't believe it. That couldn't have happened. That makes no sense. This is absurd. You're right. That faith is baloney. I couldn't agree with you more. That's the kind of faith that I would call Mickey Mouse. It's not real, and it's not what ultimately what at least in Judaism what faith is. And so it's a realizing that it's essentially a muscle. Do I believe? Again, I believe more every day. I'm stronger more every day. I'm healthy more every day. These are just, I'm more me every day. You more you practice it, the more you have it. And it's simply a muscle. Other days that you don't? Yes, of course there are. We're all human. But just like any feeling we have, right? Once it's part of us, just a bad day doesn't make it go away, right? It takes time to come. It takes a while to build it. The advantage of building it is once it's part of you, one bad day doesn't lose it. So you can have a few bad days, a bad week, a bad month, whatever it is. Just get back to being what you want to do, and it continues to build. So that's. I don't know if that answers your question 100%, but it's a more mature, I think, adult view ultimately of what religion and Judaism is.
So why do you think the unorthodox ways that you process and that kind of go in aren't like exactly in line with how everybody else believes. Why do you think so many people reject that? Or it's easier to embrace dogma than what you per se are presenting?
It's much easier to just listen to something and just say yes. I mean, it takes intellectual engagement. And so again, like going back to the first, it's easy. It's simply easier. It's easier to just mail in the check. You just do your thing and you show up once a year and you think it's a shame because when people show up once a year and say they don't feel anything, I know it. I mean, it's true. I mean, if I could show up to the gym once a year, it wouldn't feel like much at all. I get that. That makes a lot of sense. It's for example, synagogue. I go there every morning for an hour. It's it's a meditation. It's a focus, and I walk out having an awesome day. It's a spiritual gym. That's all it is. It's you go into the gym to work out, and it's a workout. And it's not easy. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm not praying to someone else. I'm almost like formatting my own mind, my own brain, how to think and how to operate that day, and have where to focus and in a good zone. And I walk out feeling awesome, like I came out of a sauna.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. And when it's perceived as just some kind of, again, it's a point system, and I have to behave a certain way, and then it worked for me. I did everything. Why can I get my return? That's like again, it's a childish way of looking at the world. And
Yeah.
so I understand because I've been there, so I have a lot of empathy for that. And I don't think it's silly. I mean, I don't have no complaints to people that feel that way. On the contrary, I want to help them discover what it really is, because it's a shame living with that constant struggle and challenge and wondering and seeing it sometimes, not seeing other times. And again, it's getting back to just not comfortable with the things we have and feeling like we're stuck with it. And I do because I'm guilty, and my parents will say something wrong to me, or my family will ostracize me. If when you start living you, everyone loves you, because when you're happy within yourself, you reflect that back to everyone else around you.
Mm.
And whether they disagree with you or not will make a difference. They ultimately see you're happy, and that's great. And if they don't, then that's about them. It's not about you.
Yeah. What's through the process of you kind of coming into your own and really understanding, like putting a different spin on your beliefs and even becoming an entrepreneur, what's one major thing that you've learned about yourself or about Judaism or the world? You can kind of pick, but what's like one major concept or learning moment that you've had?
Okay, it's a great question, and I actually came prepared for that one.
Great.
I've always seen the thing that in every negative experience, there's a positive.
Mm.
And I heard that again and again and again. I said, yeah. I tried that. It doesn't work. That's not what it is. And it really, I toyed with that intellectually, trying to think, what does that mean? And how does that work? And how do you find that? And with time, it really, when I discovered what it is, it became a life changer for me. Because again, it's another muscle. It's a muscle of finding good in every single thing.
Mm.
But first, you have to believe that it's actually true. So I'll give you an example. I'll use I don't know if you see my fingers, my hands, right? That's a hole, right? That's a
Yeah.
hole there. But is that a hole? That's not a hole anymore.
No.
So the hole actually is whole. WHOLE. Every hole is whole. I'll use a different analogy. We have a donut. There's a hole inside it. Inside
Mm-hmm.
the hole of a donut, when we're feeling down and cranky and crappy, we feel like we're in the hole.
Yeah.
And we try to go right, we try to go left, we try to go any direction. We can't get out of it. We're stuck. The truth is, there's only one way to deal with it, and that is to rise up, to get away from the hole, to go up. And when we get away from it, we look back down, we don't see a hole anymore, we see a donut.
Mm.
And so the point is that when you're feeling like you're in a real hole and you're feeling like you have a challenge, the way to deal with it is to get away from it for a little bit. Meaning, you're not going to see the good in that moment. You're not feeling when you're feeling one way, you can't feel a different way. It's not possible. Like trying to think good when you feel like crap. That it doesn't work. It's never worked. What you need to do is step away from it, pull away from a donut, go all the way up out of the hole, and then look back down. When you look back down, then you'll see a different perspective,
Mm.
right? And you'll see a donut. And then when you discover that is that with time you start realizing and start almost ingraining in your belief system and your realizations that the truth is, it seems like every single time I had a hole, it turns out it was simply a donut hole,
Yeah.
and I was surrounded by a donut. So with time, when you have another challenge and you're still not out of the hole, you know that you're in a donut hole. So
Yeah.
as hard as it is and as challenging as it is, you know, when you can get away from this, you will see the bigger picture that it's really whole.
Yeah.
And so again, it's a muscle. Like you try the first time, it's like, yeah, I don't really believe it. And then you try it again, you try it again, you try it again. And again, it starts evolving. So it's a focus on finding, almost in challenging yourself to, in every scenario, to find that positive angle. Because when you practice it in your words or your deeds or your actions, it starts becoming part of who you are. And so then it helps you the most. Because when you face a challenge, you know, you don't see it now, but you know that there's something here. And I will see it with time. And
Yeah.
it makes everything just so much different. Because again, every challenge is like, again, every lemon is lemonade.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so two more things. I want you to speak directly to to anyone that's viewing, whether live or replay. And I know one of the things that you do that you've dedicated your life to is helping people find authentically who they are, find their genius, not their genius zone. I made that up. To find to find them essentially, what makes them them, because that was kind of part of your journey. So what's one piece of advice that you can give people who maybe are feeling stuck or feeling like there has to be something more to life, but they just don't know what it is? What would be your one piece of advice to them?
What worked for me is to stop trying to get approval from others. And the way it did that was a problem because I'm an extrovert. I like to talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I was able to overcome that was talking to myself in the mirror or on a piece of paper, writing it out. And so if I had a good idea, I would discuss it with myself. I would verbalize it sometimes. My kids would ask me and say, Ellie, or she'd say, Dad, what are you saying? Who are you talking to? And I verbalizing it to myself in the car sometimes, just talking it through in my head and saying the words. And then after talking to myself or leaving myself voice notes, I realized it's a good idea. And then I would do it. And by doing that, then I saw results and it worked. Like it always worked, or it got me somewhere. I started realizing that my ideas are my ideas. Everyone else is going to think a little differently. And if I ask other people from their perspective, they're ultimately going to shoot it down because they're not in me. So they can't see what I'm thinking and they'll never get it. Everyone sees differently. You see differently, Amy sees differently than I do. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I encourage people to simply, it's easy to say be yourself, but you need to know the pathway. And so the pathway is to be yourself by trying it, testing it out with small little bite sizes. Just, you have an impulse, you have an instinct, do it. Just do it. Yes, what's the worst case scenario? It won't work. Okay, but just do it. And when you see that it does work, you start realizing that you do have ideas and you do know what to do. And then just start building on that. Don't ask anyone else for their opinions. Obviously, you have to work within a framework of ethics and logic and and society. But within that framework, just do your thing, and you'll see results. And then you'll it's a game changer because suddenly your confidence starts building as you get results, and then you start seeing that you actually can influence people and influence change and make a positive impact in the world. And it's once you start seeing it, then it all starts flowing in.
Awesome. So I know that you work specifically with people who are looking to find themselves or find a more authentic version of themselves. Is that correct? Who is your audience that you're working towards?
It's interesting because most of the audience that I have right now are actually people that are faith-based, meaning they have a faith, whatever it is Christianity, Judaism, because often they have it. I mean, they have a system that they've been living by or not living by, sort of. And so they do it again, but don't really get it. And so what I found is they're actually sometimes the easiest people to help because they have a system. They just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So by teaching them how it works, they're able to then get results much, much faster.
Yeah.
And so it's yes, they're feeling sometimes the greatest challenges and the greatest struggle because like they're lost. But once they see that they have it already, so it becomes really, really easy. So I'm not teaching them something you don't know, but I'm showing, making some bridges to some things that they may have not seen before and some outside perspective. And it helps them get results really fast.
Perfect. So how can the audience reach you? People who want to work with you or people who want to connect with you, how do they get in contact with you?
You can Google me. I'm everywhere. Or you can go to the website, Rosenfeld, ELYROSENFELD.com. And just shoot me an email. You don't have to waste any time when watching stuff. Just like click a link and let's get on the phone and let me listen to what's going on, and we can have a conversation, see if I can be helpful to you. If I can, I'd love to, and if I can't, I'll tell you straight up. I mean, I'm not looking to waste my time and then just rope people in. I love getting results and get results fast.
Yeah.
So if I think this is like keeper, this person can get it, then we're game. And if not, I'm like, yeah, it's not. It's great. They're great people, but they're not ready to actually get the work done and get results. So
right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So in the comments, I'm going to put the website so that people who want to reach you can reach you. But once again, Ely, thank you so much for being on today. Thank you for sharing.
The opportunity.
I know that. Say it again.
You're welcome, and thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, of course. I know that people got value from this, so make sure that you go to his website, Facebook, contact him. He is a wealth of information and knowledge, and you don't have to go through the rest of your life not living your authentic self. So have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. For those live, for those replaying, thank you so much.